Full disclosure, I met this gentleman 6 months ago on a cruise ship. I got to see him live. He was hilarious. He's one of those guys that your stomach is hurting when you're leaving. Or before you even leave, your stomach is hurting. Your face is hurting from smiling and laughing so much. I was there. My father-in-law, he was 82 years old, and he was even laughing his ass off. You can find him on thereallahardy.com. That's his website, thereallahardy.com. Also, you can find him on social media at BlackDad2013. You might have seen him on VH1, BET Comic View, Comedy TV, MTV. He's been in movies such as China Dolls, The Florida Manifesto, web series. He also has a dry bar comedy special, and you can check that out. He toured the world performing for the U.S. troops in over 35 countries. He headlines on cruise ships. You can catch him at the local improv and other comedy clubs. Just check him out. We're excited for him to be here today. Please help me welcome L.A. Hardy to the podcast. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Steven? Good to see you. I wasn't sure if I was on yet.
He's like, where are we going?
Yeah, totally cool to be here, man. Awesome intro. I had forgotten about some of that stuff you even mentioned. So it's always good to hear your name thrown in with good things. But yeah, man, I met you guys. I was doing the cruise, and your dad was hilarious. 82 years old. We had a ball.
Yeah, he was a crazy, funny guy. And it's funny because it's one of those situations when you meet someone that you admire and you look up to, and you don't have your phone on you. And I'm guilty of that. I was on the cruise ship. It was my wedding night, and I was like, you know what? I'm leaving my phone in the room. I just want to go have fun. And sure enough, I run into him. I'm like, damn, where's my phone when I needed it? But who would have thought, you know, the universe put us here together.
6 months later, here we are.
6 months later, and I do appreciate it. And I appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thanks, man.
But let's get into it. Let's get into it. So how'd you get into comedy?
It was actually my barber, who is one of my best friends in the world. His name's J.R. McCullum. He's also a stand-up comic right now, doing some cruise ships as well. He was cutting my hair. We were busting balls. We're in the shop. Dude, they're having a comedy contest down at this comedy club. We should go down there, see what we can do. You only got to prepare 5 minutes, and we'll see how it goes. We went down. Each one of us took turns winning this contest over a few weeks, and it just got the bug, just kept coming back. Honestly, when I started, I didn't even know you could make money doing comedy. Wow. It was just such a rush to get on stage and feel that immediate gratification, so to speak, of an audience coming back. And I just kept going. This was back in probably 91, 92. Right. And then I got to a point where I was just doing shows here, doing shows there, and it was a variety of different kind of shows. I might MC a show. I might be a feature act, which is 20, 30 minutes on a show. Sometimes early in my career, I might even headline. Had no business doing it, but I would headline a show, and it gave me a lot of experience and opened some doors within my own personality to say, hey, I could do this. I could try this. Right. So I was working a corporate job at the time, and I got myself fired just in time to go on the road for a week with a headliner and collect unemployment insurance all at the same time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it worked out great.
Right. So that was the start.
That was April 1st, 1993.
Wow.
So this is 31 years.
That's great.
Yeah,
wow,
man.
Amazing.
Still loving it.
Wow. Congratulations on that longevity, because
Thanks,
it's not easy, right?
No.
It's definitely not easy. And you're right. And that gratitude, the gratification when you hear that laughter is very addictive.
It was something I always thought I could do. I just didn't know how to really get into it until my man mentioned, hey, let's go do this. Because before I got into comedy, I was doing corporate sales, corporate marketing for a couple of really big companies. But before even that, my goal going into what I really wanted to do, I was trying to play professional baseball.
Wow.
And I was a pitcher, Division I college ball.
Nice.
And yeah, man, had a ball doing that. And then when that didn't work out, I was like, I got to go sell something. So
right. Where was that?
this was in Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio.
I'm a proud graduate, the University of Akron Zips.
There you go.
I'm a zipper.
Whoop.
There you go.
That's nice.
Yeah, man. So
that's awesome.
Did that, then got into corporate sales with Procter & Gamble.
Wow. That's a big
And
one.
left them and went on to deal drugs with RJR Tobacco. With cigarettes. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now going from there, okay, so then What was a big breakthrough that you would say you had in beginning your career?
I figured out pretty quickly. Well, let me back up and say, when you get into comedy, you have certain goals, things that you think you want to accomplish.
Okay.
When I got into it, I didn't know what I wanted to do because I didn't even know there was a goal to have in comedy. Shortly, I figured out, okay, a comedian can do all these kinds of things. He can host shows, he can be an actor, he can all these kinds of things. And then somewhere in the early '90s, I saw Arsenio,
Right.
and I said, that's what I want to do. I want that job. I want to be a late night host. And so I worked towards that, and I figured out that staying in Cleveland, they weren't doing a whole lot of late night TV shows there at that time at all. And so I was like, 5 years into comedy, I decided I want to go for the big ring. I'm moving to LA, and packed up me and my dog and did that.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it was a big gamble. I was single, didn't have any kids, didn't have any responsibilities, so I was like, yeah, man.
In LA, right? So that was a big jump.
Yeah.
To go around that, and back then that was what you had to do, right? They didn't have many options. Yeah.
It seemed like it because there was no internet, so
Right,
you didn't have
right.
a way to put yourself out there in a mass media form of any kind, unless it was some form of TV. Cable hadn't even, this is how old I am, dude. Cable hadn't even really caught on. It had just gone on in 1979 when I graduated high school.
Wow.
So that was ESPN and MTV, but you didn't have all the channels and everything going on. So
Right.
it seemed like a good idea to me.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And MTV was huge.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah, they opened the door for a lot of new media that we have now.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. And can you talk a little bit about your experience touring and doing comedy for the troops?
Man, that was started doing that probably 1998. I can't really even remember how I got. I do. A friend of mine, Don Barnhart, who had been doing USO tours. I had met him at the Cleveland Improv. We had sort of made a friendship, and he had said to me, I'd said how much I love comedy. I wanted to do this and that and the other. I was probably 3 to 5 years in, and he says to me, "Hey man, I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to take you seriously until you move to LA and you actually come out here and start doing it." And that's when I took that idea. I was like, "Oh man, this is what I got to do. I got to do this."
Right.
So then I moved out there. He was already living there. We met up again, and that's when he turned me on to some USO tours. And I went on my first tours then, and then after that, it was just one after another. Been to some really cool places. I went to Iraq in 2003.
Wow.
Before we caught Saddam. I was eating food in his palaces.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was riding around in a Humvee. I got to drive a tank, an M1 tank.
Damn.
I got to fly a helicopter.
What?
And I didn't have to join.
Right, exactly. You didn't have to go through boot camp
awesome.
and all that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Shoot.
It was awesome.
So they were probably thrilled to see you coming there.
They really were. It was probably the most rewarding tour I'd ever been on because we did about 27 shows in 30 days.
Damn.
We were all over the place. We went up to Tikrit where Saddam Hussein was born, and we hadn't caught him yet. And we were all the way down in Baghdad, and we were almost close to not Palestine. What's the country? Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
Right.
The soldiers were so great, and those tours are some of the best things that I like to do because I'm not going to join the military, but I love to give back to people. My pops was in, and grandfather, and that sort of thing. So it's real rewarding to do those kind of things. And much love to all of our troops, men and women out there, doing the job that a lot of us don't want to do.
That's right. Thank you. Yes, thank you. That's right.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, indeed. And that's interesting, yeah, because going through those experiences, how do you compare that to being on cruise ships?
It's a battle.
Right. And I say that because of me seeing your stand up. I was just curious to share some of the stories.
It's interesting because of the transition from going from being a comedy club straight up in the room comic to where I am now, where I'm a little bit more of a different kind of comic, working a different kind of crowd, but almost the exact same thing. So it's come almost full circle. When I started comedy, dude, it was for me, it was combat comedy because it was a new art form, and I was working a lot of bars. And back then, people were smoking.
Right.
I mean, you would come in and you almost couldn't see the stage, so it was a really rough trade kind of thing.
Right.
And you were like, surviving.
Right.
Get off of me. If people didn't like your jokes, they'd be booing and throwing stuff, man.
Damn.
It could be interesting. I remember doing a show. I went up to Detroit, Michigan. It was a showcase for Uptown Comedy Club, the TV show. And I had my aunt and my uncle come out, man. I was comic number 27. I had on this really weird gear, and it was awful, dude. I ate it so bad.
Oh, shit.
I ate it so bad. It was so bad. My aunt came up to me after the show, and she just goes, "Baby, you okay?"
Oh, shit. Bless his heart.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of those, man. But it was something that you had to go through to baptism by fire. Fast forward to where I'm at now. I had to learn how to work these crowds on a cruise ship because it's not like a comedy club, but it is like a comedy club because it's small, it's an intimate setting, but you've got people who, like yourself, you're there with a wedding.
Right.
There's a certain age group there that's 30, 40 years old. Then there's another age group of 80 people. 85-year-old people. They've been doing cruises forever. They've seen a million comics. And then there's this other group of a whole family of 8 people. And they range from 18 to 80. And all of their different foibles and different things that they bring to the table, experiences, and bringing all of that together and still making it be fun for everybody.
Right.
And that's the thing I like to do, man. Just roll that dice and see what happens.
Right. No, and you're amazing, like I said, and you work that crowd, and just like you depicted that, it was true that in the audience you had a wide range of different generations, different cultures, and people don't realize it's not easy. It's not easy.
It's a challenge because it's always something different, and that was the other thing I was going to mention when we were talking about the cruise line thing. That week that you guys were there, that was a 7-day cruise, right?
Yeah.
I did 13 shows that week. Damn. Every single one of them was different because different people came because that ship holds 6,700 people.
Right.
The room only holds 200 people. So I'm never going to get everybody anyway until we get to the big show in the main showroom, which is 3,000 people.
Right.
So now you're talking about going from entertaining 200 people with a small group and being able to pick them out to 3,000 people, but still being able to use that same material or figuring out how to make that same thing work.
Right.
And that's the challenge because you never know how it's going to go.
Right. You never know. And do you find yourself even now, like during your show, are you like critiquing it yourself as you're going? Are you analyzing the applause and the energy after you say your punchline and saying, well, that's not really working tonight. Let me try to shift up and go this direction?
Sometimes. I mean, I go in with a script. I already know it's going to be this, and this. But then sometimes something will happen in the room and I might go off the page because, for example, somebody comes walking in during the show. They're extremely loud. They're looking for a seat. Something's going on over here. Somebody dropped something over here. Somebody's talking about something, yelling something at me over here. So it's kind of it's a high wire act that I like to be on and do that kind of delicate balance.
And now, do you do anything before you go on stage? Like some people I talked to in the past, they have like rituals or they have something they always do before.
Yeah, I like crystal meth. No, I'm kidding. No, for the most part, I might have a tequila before I go on stage. I like the taste of tequila, and it's not like I take it and bam. I like to have a little drinky drink in my hand. I'll put it down and I'll sip on it. That's probably the most I'll do because I'm not really a drinker, so I'm not really into too many other things. So it's just like I like to have my mind in the moment.
Right.
In the moment. That's the key phrase for me is being right there, right then. Not thinking about that booking next week or what happened at the last show or who made me mad in the buffet line or whatever. You know, I'm like, here we are right now, just like with this, man.
Right. That's great.
I want to be in this room because that's to me. We talking about health, and you're in cyber health. That's the most important mental health thing that I try to impart to people. And you might have heard it even in my act. Is you got to be enjoying what you're doing right now.
Right.
Because tomorrow is not promised at all.
Amen.
So I try to impart that in my act. I try to impart that in everything I do because I'm a firm believer mental health is very important, and having that mental health of being in the moment right now, to me, is the most important thing in the world, man.
You made a good point there, talking about how we need comedy, we need to be in the moment, mental health. And comedy to me is a form of healthcare. It is a form of healing.
Right.
So you have some experience. I believe we talked about with some family members in healthcare.
I do.
You want to talk
I do,
about that?
because, first, let me just say, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, then moved to Los Angeles, and now I live in the happiest place on earth, my mom's house. My mom is a registered nurse for 55 years.
Wow.
She'll be 95 years old March 19th, and she is the person who passes out the healthcare information on everything to everybody in the family. Everybody calls her to get a read on what's going on. Like, for example, she was telling me that I was getting the vaccine for sure. I live down here in Florida. You're getting the vaccine. So I made sure I did, and I got the Pfizer. I got the good one.
Right.
I figure if it works down here, it'll work on the rest of me.
That's right.
That's the whole point. And also, my family is my mom and dad raised 3 black men, put us all through college. My younger brother, who's a teacher. I do this. They're so proud. And my older brother, who's a gynecologist.
Wow.
He's a lip reader.
Right.
And so, medicine has always been a big part of whatever I'm doing. So I'm always getting information, and I'm always disseminating it in a manner of mental health. Because I really think that we got to get our heads on straight and be able to be out here in the world dealing with each other,
Right.
in a manner that we don't have to kill each other. And
Absolutely.
And that starts with mental health. So.
Right, absolutely. And we appreciate you, because comedy is one of those things that we need in the world. Like I started off the podcast saying that we need more comedy. We need to be able to laugh at each other, laugh at things that make us unique, right? That's what comedy is about. And, the little comedy that I did back in the day, I would say for myself that I probably didn't do a good job unless I offended somebody, right? Because there's always someone in the audience that gets offended.
Well, though, the object is not to offend.
Right.
The object is to kind of wake their mind up, make them maybe think about something in a way that they hadn't thought about it before.
That's a good way to say it.
I mean, I don't go out of my way to go out here and attack somebody and punch them in the face.
Right.
But I do go out to punch you in the head with something that you might not have thought about, in a way you might not have thought about it. So that when you go out here, you didn't just hear me say, "Oh, I'm just a dumbass."
Right.
I want to have a little something to say that I think people can walk away with, and I think that's where I'm at. I'm 63 years old at this point, man. I'm not fooling anybody. I know who I am, and at 63, especially in Florida, that's very important, because you know what that means. I can live in your gated community. That's what that means. So,
coming to a gated community
exactly,
soon, right? Near you. Now, you did mention about being in the moment, being present. I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing I want to touch on that I'm sure you can attest to and you've seen in your travels, that the youth and even us adults, we are constantly on our devices. We're constantly with our head down. We're not in the moment.
Right.
People crossing the street with their head down, people driving with their head down.
Right.
So through your comedy, you make it a point to let people know to get off the phone and be here in this moment.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, what's next for you in the comedy?
Wow, man, it's quite a bit, actually. I had during the pandemic, me and some friends of mine produced a show called Meaningless Debate. It's a show where the 2 comics come on and debate completely meaningless topics. Now, this show is 13 episodes up right now on YouTube. You can watch any one of them. There's 13. Meaningless Debate is the name of the show.
Okay.
And, like, for example, one of our topics is a hot dog a sandwich?
Okay.
Each comic has to debate. One has to debate that yes, it is. One has to debate that no, it's not. And the winner of that debate wins that particular argument. And we have 3 or 4 or 5 or 8, however many we can get in a segment, on that segment where the comics come in and battle it out. Strictly meaningless topics. Yeah, right. No politics, nothing for real. It's a lot of fun. And we're actually going to redo this show. We're going to reboot it at some point during the summer, I think, this year. So I'm really looking forward to doing that, because I'm the host.
Nice.
And that's kind of where I'm, getting my hosting chops up.
Yeah.
I'm looking at I do a lot of voiceovers. You can catch my voice in a few things, like the movie Guess Who with Bernie Mac. Back in
Yeah.
the day with Ashton Kutcher, there's a part in the movie where Mike Epps says, "Oh, I told you it was going to matter." Well, he says it, but it's my voice.
Wow.
So I managed to get myself into a few little pies, and that's what I'm looking forward to, man. Just taking advantage of some opportunities out here that I can work in some different formats of television, movies, live performance. I'm looking at doing some of my own theater shows with L.A. Hardy and friends in some small theaters, even in and around Florida. So look for me there because I want to bring some young, fresh comics and some ones you've seen before out to an arena where I host it, and we let their talent speak for themselves, man. I think we could do that here in Florida for sure because everybody needs a laugh.
Right. Absolutely.
Everybody needs a laugh.
Absolutely. That's incredible. So definitely check him out. He's got a lot of things going on. You can catch him, like we mentioned before, real quick. We'll say it again. You can find his website, therealahardy.com, and you can find out more about what he's up to and where he's doing it and what platforms.
And before I forget, like you were saying, my Instagram is BlackDad2013. If you're looking for me there, it's L.A. Hardy. And I know there's people over 40 out there also listening, so I'm also on Facebook. So look for me there.
That's right.
On Facebook, though, it's my government name, Lawrence Hardy.
Okay.
So I'm throwing that out. I'm letting you into my world. My real name's there.
Thank you.
And
appreciate that.
you can see some of the things I got going on because I do some things on Instagram, some things on Facebook, and some things both together.
Okay.
But I share a lot of what I got going on because I'm also a dad. And I got two kids. I got my daughter's 24.
Nice.
My son is 19. He'll be 20 in February. And you'll see some of my material that shifts that way and talks about them because they're hilarious and they always got something going on.
Nice.
And they keep me on my toes, even though we're not even living in the same house right now.
That's great. So a lot of people can relate to that because a lot of us, like myself, we're fathers, we have families, we have children, and we already know that list goes with the interactions we have with our kids. Real quick, I want to touch on a personal note. You were just in L.A. recently.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's going on in L.A. for a lot of people who are just watching the news?
Ooh, there are the fires that are going on. I don't want anybody to walk away with the idea that this is something minimal. It's a big deal. There's been a lot going on, and a lot of people have lost property. Thankfully, not a lot of them have lost their lives. The whole city is not on fire as it looks like on TV, but there has been a lot of damage. I want people to understand that the people in Los Angeles are people just like everybody else, and it may seem like they have all this money they can afford to. Nobody wants to lose all your stuff. Right. And nobody wants their lives endangered by the fact of losing your life just by living somewhere. So I wish them nothing but the best. I hate to say it, but I had a great time there. I love Los Angeles. It's close to my heart. My name is L.A., but it has nothing to do with Los Angeles, but it does. Los Angeles is my place. I have two brothers that still live there.
Oh, okay.
My daughter lives there.
Oh, nice.
I was there working a casino. I have a lot of friends working there. And it's always shown me a lot of love. So my heart goes out to the folks in L.A.
Yeah, our hearts go out to the people in L.A. and hopefully things get sorted out there soon. I know they have a lot of new resources now with the new president going over there and trying to help out.
I said there wasn't going to be any politics in this conference.
Damn it.
Oh.
Let's check the paper. He signed and he said that he didn't care. But no, yes, that's that is an ongoing issue there for the people. So our hearts do go out. On a serious note, our hearts go out to the people in California and hope they get better. And so I do want to ask you, this is a tech podcast. As far as technology and comedy, do you ever concern yourself with AI taking over your job?
A little bit. The thing that I'm concerned about with AI is not necessarily them taking over my job, as being able to take something that I produce, using it in perpetuity without paying me for it. As long as I get paid, man, we can do whatever. Because I'm in this industry because I love it, but I'm here to get some money.
Sure.
And if AI can help me to do that, I'm in. I don't want it taken away from me. Right. Because I don't want them taking a likeness of me, putting it in a movie somewhere or putting it somewhere else, whether it's background or in the front somewhere. And I'm continuing to show up over this millennial and never compensate me for that. So
right. That's a good point. Yeah. And on the flip side of that, some of the positive notes are the robotic girlfriends. So I'd like to know your opinion about that.
I'm sorry. I had no idea. That was pretty good.
Look, I got him laughing. Look at that. I got to stun the comedian. It's great.
Robotic girlfriends. Now, I would not call my girlfriend robotic, but her favorite position is prone. Or maybe corpse.
Oh, corpse.
No, I'm kidding, baby. I love you. You know that.
He loves you. We know. Yeah, he loves you.
But that's an interesting application, isn't it?
It is.
I think I saw, was it Elon Musk kissing one? I saw somebody kissing one. It was a stand-up, like full-blown robot with the girl's face and like Barbie or something.
Yeah.
Women, you could be in trouble.
That's what I'm saying. With technology, I mean,
You could be in trouble.
you go home and your wife or girlfriend's talking some mess.
Check your attitude.
That's right. You can be like, okay, let me just go online, Amazon, let me order something real quick.
I'll be out in the car.
That's right. Where you going, baby? You can check the car, check the
Yeah.
oil. Again.
It could work.
But it's a big thing. You know, I went to a convention last year, a tech convention, and they had a couple of them. And you can clearly see from a mile away that they're artificial. It's not a real
At this
person.
point,
At this point.
Yeah.
Right. So you can imagine where we're headed.
Well, I've seen they have some dolls, not some that actually move and talk, but they're realistic, like mannequin with rubber skin and all that kind of thing. I've seen that.
Right. Yeah, they have those. Those are great. But
Really?
I mean, those
Can you
are
tell me about it?
those are great for people who need them. You know, more for like people who are lonely and they don't want to be home alone.
Oh, I thought you had some personal experience you were going to share.
No, not off the record. We'll
Okay.
talk about that. Honey, I have no experience. Where's my wife? I have no experience with that. This is a setup. Okay. But no, yeah, so we'll watch out for the robotic girlfriends. You know, you've been around, like you mentioned, since, 93, you would say you're in the game?
Started full-time April 1st, 1993.
93, okay. So in that time, what would you say, if you could go back, is there any particular historical figure, whether they're in comedy or not, that you would love to have a cup of coffee with?
Ooh, Don Rickles.
Don Rickles.
Don Rickles.
Man in my own heart.
I like Don stuff. Don was a inspiration. Eddie Murphy was probably the first comic that I saw that really said to me rock star status can be had in comedy. I remember seeing Eddie in an arena, 20,000 people, one freaking guy.
Wow.
And in a leather suit.
Right.
Captivating his audience. I mean, I was like blown away, man. I was like, yeah, I like that.
What'd you think about his brother, Charlie Murphy?
Very hilarious.
Right. Yeah.
Very funny. And cool that they could keep that in the family. I'll tell you, the Rock brothers do the same thing with Chris and Tony Rock. Very funny guys and very, very good people.
Approachable people.
Yeah,
good,
very
humble
much
people.
so. Very much so.
And that's one thing I want to ask you too, because you see, you see a lot of people on TV, right? And you always wonder, are they that cool in person?
Yeah.
And not to point anybody out, but was there anybody, without mentioning anybody's name, that you were kind of, caught off guard that they were not humble and nice? Did you ever have that experience?
Yeah, probably. I shake those out of my head for the most part because most people, for I'd say 98% of the time, are pretty easygoing in the business because you just have to be. There's no point in really making life harder than it needs to be. I mean, yeah, there's a number of people out here who, do whatever in any industry.
Right.
But man, I love the journey, and I've loved it the whole time. And to me, that's what you have to do in anything you're doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
You did a show recently. It was in Hollywood. I think it was a couple weeks ago, and you were the people you had with you. Some of the comedians I know personally. I think you mentioned Nadeem, and Zach.
Yeah, Zach, Julie Baez.
Yep, Julie Baez.
Abby Rowland.
Who else was down?
Oh man, I can see their faces. I can't think of their names. I always do this. Anyway, a number of young comics. You can look them up on my past posters. We were doing some shows at a local dispensary here in Hollywood, and dude, I love seeing the young cats come up and just kill it.
Yeah,
and have a good time doing it. Because I'm the OG now. I'm not the
Right.
young fresh comic coming up. So
Right. And they've been doing it for a minute. The people you just mentioned, big
Some
shout
of
out to
them-
you guys. Keep it
yeah,
going,
yeah.
man. Keep it going. Some of you I know personally, some of you I don't. I've just seen you. I've watched you from a distance. But
Alex
always
Garbo's
much-
another name I would.
There you
mention.
go.
Look out for these cats.
Look out for these guys and ladies. They're great,
absolutely.
great comedians. A lot of
I like
good
giving them
talent.
opportunities, putting them on shows that I'm doing, telling people about them, because I ain't gonna be around forever, man. And I'd like to see some of these cats go out and do something before I leave the earth.
Right.
So
right. That's great.
let's
Get
have some
back.
fun. There's plenty of
Yeah.
work out here for all of us.
Yeah. And and thank you for saying that, because a lot of times, and not just in comedy, but even with the podcast and other ventures that people get into, some people I know that they forget that there's enough to go around, so don't like try to box people out, be welcoming, be available, and try to help people.
There's a lot to go around. There's no point in carrying grudges, man.
Right.
Let that shit go.
Let it go.
Because life's too short. We've already found that out in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
We've seen
absolutely.
a lot of history in this. So let's have some fun.
So let's have some fun. And now I have a couple questions here. I took a poll a few weeks ago, and mainly not that kind of poll, but I was able to talk to females,
Okay.
because you have a big female following of your comedy. When I did some research about it,
Okay.
and so these are questions, and I'm setting this up so you understand the questions are coming from female.
This is funny because this is how we take the questions for Meaningless Debate.
Oh, really?
We have people send in these kinds of questions that you're going to ask me, and then we ask those with the comics.
So perfect.
So make sure you check out Meaningless Debate online.
Meaningless Debate.
Meaningless Debate.
All
What
right.
you
So
got?
here's the first question.
All right.
What is a hobby or an interest that might surprise people about you?
I play racquetball.
You play racquetball? No kidding.
And pickleball.
Really?
Yeah, I never even saw that one coming.
Pickleball? I don't even know anything. People keep talking about pickleball. What's the deal with pickleball? How's that blown up?
It's ping pong in a smaller court with a heavier ball. And you can play 2 people or you can play 4 people. It's just exploded now over the last year even or so.
Yeah.
And the other sport that people would be surprised at is I like playing pool
That's cool.
and I like playing a little ping pong. I
Nice.
can mess around. I'm all right with them
All
paddles.
right. That's what's up. Well, my wife's half Chinese. I'll have to have her compete with you
Nice.
against ping pong.
And this
We'll
one will
see.
blow people's minds. Yes, I love to swim. I'm a big swimmer, ocean or pool.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, black people can't swim. Trust me.
Right. No life jacket. All right, that's great. All right, so hopefully the person who asked the question, you got your answer.
Yeah.
So the next one is, could you share a book, movie, or TV show that had a significant impact on you?
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Okay, I know about that.
When I read that book, simple, no nonsense, straight to the core ways of understanding how to move. I'm not even putting it in the proper terminology. How can I say this? The book outlines some things that I already knew about how to be successful. It reminded me of some things that I had been doing unconsciously. For example, one thing that you need to do when you're trying to make yourself successful or move into whatever field you're trying to get into, surround yourself with other people who are doing better than you are. We call that a mastermind group. That group of people that I surrounded myself around were predominantly comics who had more time in the game than me, so I could learn from them. I have friends who were at the same level as me, and some who are not as accomplished as I've been. And I'm not saying that to be rude or arrogant, but I mean, I've learned from all of these people, but I surrounded myself with people who are doing better than what I was doing because I want to learn from these people. And then I'm a mastermind group for somebody else if they use it correctly. But I got all that from that simple book, Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill book was written in 1936.
Right.
It's a really good audio book if you get a chance to check it out.
I was going to say my sister had the audio book, the cassettes.
Yes,
Big
that was
book
how I
thing.
got it.
Yeah.
That was how I first got turned on to them. I had all these. It was a thing of cassettes, like 12 of them or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, man, that was the thing for me.
Yeah, and then as I got older, I got the CDs.
Yeah.
'Cause then the car you don't have. I think I'm gonna have my car now. I'll show you when we leave. I have the whole
It's
CD
on my
set.
Spotify.
That's right. Well, I have it here tattooed on
There
my
you go.
nipple. All right. Well, that's great. So there you go. Think and Grow Rich. Check it out. Napoleon Hill.
Absolutely.
Not Benny Hill. But don't confuse the two.
Although
right?
Benny's pretty good too.
Benny was an amazing guy. All right. Okay. Here's another one. If you, the best advice you ever were given.
Be yourself. And don't let anybody stop you. My parents instilled that, drilled it into my head. My pops was a real big on do your own thing, be a leader, not a follower type of guy. So I've always looked at things like think outside the box. As soon as somebody's telling me something I can't do, or that it's impossible to do, or you can't be done, I'm already thinking of ways that it's already done in my head. I'm into moving forward and thinking about things. That's probably what the main thing about Think and Grow Rich taught me was it's not about, oh, I'm working towards this, or I think I can. You have to believe in your head that you already did it. If you believe in your head that you've already did it, then you're 2/3 of the way to already accomplishing whatever it is you want to do.
Right.
I mean, when I started out with comedy, my ideas was I wanted to be a talk show host like Arsenio Hall. May never get there, but you'll never hear me say that.
Right.
And I've done a number of other things that have allowed me to get the same kinds of recognition and fulfillment. Doing things that are along the same lines, even if I didn't get there,
Right.
because I had already achieved those things in my head.
Right.
And that's where it has to start.
Yep.
So I try to pass that on. My slogan is live your best life now.
Definitely. And that leads to my next question, which kind of goes with that. Can you describe a moment that you felt inspired by someone?
Coming up for me as a young black kid in Cleveland, Ohio, in the early 70s, late 60s, Muhammad Ali was my man. So when I saw Muhammad doing what he was doing, and he was talking shit and whooping ass, I was totally into that. Because his motto was, it ain't bragging if you can do it.
Right.
Now, we've all heard people bragging.
Right.
You know, somebody saying they can do this and that and the other, and maybe they were 50-50 one way or the other. But when Muhammad was saying it, he was predicting rounds. That shit was amazing, man.
Right.
I never seen a black man doing something like that before. A lot of us hadn't. And then he did the whole stance against going to war for his religious beliefs. Here's a man he ain't talking the talk. He's walking the walk, man.
Right.
At a time when people were getting shot.
Right.
You know, I mean, when I watched this dude doing his thing, I was inspired. I was like, I want to stand out in front. I want to do some things that matter. I want to do some things that make a difference.
Right.
And luckily, through God's grace, I've been able to do that, and hopefully, I've inspired a few people.
Yeah.
You know, and just had some fun along the way.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Now the last one here from these female guests, Hollywood. You've done a few movies. Can you give us a little of an insider's look to the typical stereotypes you hear about Hollywood?
Oh, the typical stereotypes. Everybody's fake.
Yeah.
Nobody's real. Everybody's fake. Everybody's fake everywhere. There's a whole lot of people full of shit. You see it every day out here in the real world. I mean, but for me, Hollywood is what you make it. I mean, to me, when I went to L.A., for example, there's two different parts of it. There's in L.A., you got to live like a normal person. You go to the grocery store, pay for gas, live your life, have friends and things that you do that are outside of that. And especially for me, since I was there and I had children, there's a dad part of it. I had to have things that my kids were doing that have nothing to do with this Hollywood part. This Hollywood part is all smoke and mirrors, and you know, it's what I moved to achieve, but it's not who I am as a person. So for me, I didn't let it overtake who I was as a person, and I lived almost two separate lives, and it made it fun for me. But I'll tell you what, the Hollywood part is fun as hell. I'll just share this one story. I go into the Improv, and I'm doing a showcase for cruises, for Norwegian Cruise Line. So I'm doing a showcase at the Improv. Friend of mine, T-Rex, comedian T-Rex, very funny motherfucker. Check him out on Prime. Dude, I got some tickets to a Chappelle party. Get the fuck out of here. Dude, I got tickets to a Chappelle party. We're going after your set. it's up towards the Hollywood Hills. Now, I know Dave Chappelle. I've met him before. We've worked together before.
Nice.
We ain't like buds. I can pick up the phone, Dave. But I know Dave. Dave knows me. So we go up there with Tiffany Haddish after the show. We're going in. The dude from Soul Sonic with Bruno Mars is outside. Little bitty dude. I forget his name. We're talking to him. He's like, yeah, man, come on into the party. Let's party. We're going to party in this motherfucker. We getting ready to go in. They take your phones because you can't have any phones. There's nobody taking pictures inside. So they take our phones. We go in. Everything's free. Food, the liquor. They got live entertainment from, big name live entertainment. I can't even think of it because this was earlier in the year and so much has happened since then. And we go in. Everything's free. So we hit the bar. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know what was in these drinks, man. 2-3 drinks. I'm hammered. But the vibe is just like, it was so magical. It was like I walked in and people are speaking to me like they know me. And I'm like, fine women, guys you've seen on TV. I'm like, hey man, what's up? Hey man, what's up? It's an LA party. People naturally do that. So me and my man are hanging out. And I'm not going to name drop as to who all was there, but we're hanging out and all of a sudden there's like a commotion at the door. And I'm standing over here and I'm drunk. My man is drunk next to me, and we're just like this. And I look over, and who walks in the door, dude? It's Drake.
Oh, shit.
But when he comes in the door, he didn't just walk in. It was like Jesus just came in because everything, the sea of people just parted, and of where he came in to the bar, and he just came in and it was like this. And it was like, ah! And he just floated to the bar, man. Floated to the bar.
Damn.
And I was like, he was the most beautiful dude I've ever seen in my life. I was like, this motherfucker here. I see what's going on. I see how he's doing his thing. This motherfucker is beautiful. He's like 6'3", 6'4", tall dude. He had on like a big ass fur coat because it was kind of cool that evening. Few people came in with him. They go to the bar and they're hanging out. And I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm not trying to go up to him, but I'm being a goof. And somewhere somebody took a picture and was taking pictures of him and the group that he was with. And I tried to photobomb that bad. I'm in the picture like this. Somewhere there's a picture with me like this. And somewhere there's a picture with me like this. And there's a hand on my head going this way, pushing me out of the picture. No way. Somewhere there's that picture.
We got to find that picture.
That's my true Hollywood story.
Right. Well, you gave me some homework to do.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to be looking
Look
that
for
one
that
up.
picture. It happened.
Awesome.
But yeah, man, we get to but it was so funny because I get to the party and Dave's at the party. He's got on a suit and tennis shoes, and I'm only telling this because of how it looked in my head when I walked in. And I'm like, Dave comes up and he sees me. He's like, "L.A., what's happening, man? No, man, you can't do any time. But welcome to the party, man." And then he takes off. It was just one of those moments.
Yeah. Wow.
One of those moments. To me, that's what Hollywood always was. That feeling that anything can happen at any time. You can wind up the greatest star the world has ever seen one day, or wind up in a federal penitentiary.
Right.
Any one of those things can happen in any given day, or in between.
Wow.
That was my take on LA.
Wow.
And Hollywood.
Well, thank you for sharing that
Yeah, man, you're
story,
welcome.
man. That is an amazing story.
Wow, you're not going to make me cry, man. You're not going to make me cry. Never told that story before.
Well, now this is the part of the segment of the show we want to get very emotional about it. And, yeah, we're going to talk about how
Look,
we
man,
how we
the
make a
baby wasn't
salad.
mine. Fuck that bitch.
But now we're going to get to the fun part of the episode. We have a few minutes left. We have 10 minutes left here, and we want to get your opinion. We're going to call this segment Current Events with a Comedian. Okay? That's what we'll call it. I just thought of that off the top of my head. Write it down.
Okay.
Trademark it.
Okay.
So the California fires, obviously there's fires and people are losing their homes. But on the flip side of that story, you have other people that are saying these are very pinpointed, isolated fires.
Manufactured events.
To a certain degree. Maybe not the whole thing, but a certain degree because of other outside issues going on. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, man, I think it's awful interesting that a number of insurance companies canceled people's fire insurance 3 months or so before this fire started.
Right.
That's kind of interesting.
Right.
I'm not a conspiracy theory guy per se, but there are some interesting coincidences.
Right. So we'll leave it at that. So we can agree on that. There's some interesting coincidences. All right. The next one is the immigration issue, the mass deportation of the illegal criminals. Not just people trying to make a buck and better their family, but the actual criminals. What would you have anything on that?
Some folks that voted for your boy gonna get a big ass surprise.
All right. Speaking of healthcare,
We're just gonna leave that right there.
we're leaving that in. That's a statement. That's it. So we talked about United Healthcare CEO, the killing of him that happened a few months ago.
Yeah.
Any
I
opinion
didn't
about
do it.
that? No, you didn't do it.
I wasn't even in state.
You weren't in the state?
Wasn't
All right,
in the state.
we'll verify that.
Healthcare is something, though, man.
I'm telling you.
It's funny about healthcare because you never really think about it until it impacts you personally.
Right.
I remember being in my 20s and walking in the house and bitching to my mom. I ain't got no money. Man, if I just had some money, I just need some money. And hearing her say, well, you don't have any money, but you have your health, and that's the most important thing. And I remember saying, I always have my health. Psst, that ain't nothing. My health will always be good. Shit. Bro, I've had both knees replaced, a left hip, and a right shoulder. And next year, new dick. The Donkey Kong 3000.
Damn, there we go.
It's a downgrade. I don't want to hurt grandma.
That's right. You're going to walk into it. Here I am for the interview.
But no, man, this healthcare thing is it's kind of scary because you have to have it. There's no two ways about it. But there's also ways around it that cost all of us more money.
Right.
And that is that, like let's say you don't have healthcare. You can still get it. And if you go to an emergency room, they're still going to give it to you.
Right.
But then they're going to fuck me over later on as the person who's paying all these bills, and you weren't the person who was going to pay it.
Right. So that's something that needs to be worked on, right?
Well, we got to figure out a
right?
way to make it affordable for people to have health care so they don't have to go into an emergency room without it.
Right.
And give them some options. You know?
It's true. A good point. I don't know if you were here in Florida or if you were in L.A. for the snow that we had recently. Can you believe that? We had some snow up there.
I was here, actually.
Were you?
Yeah, I was here. I was actually in between. I was just coming back from L.A. and the snow hit. And then I saw it all on, well, let me say this. I don't watch the news, so I saw it on the internet. I haven't watched network news on television since 2016. It's changed my life. You should try it, too. I'm not talking about any news. I'm talking about TV network news. Let that shit go.
Right.
It will change
Yeah,
your
I
life.
agree. I think a lot of people now they're not on the cable and TV watching the media anymore like they used to. It's true.
I would hope so because for me, I was throwing stuff at the TV, and I'm one of those people that yelling and screaming and that kind of thing when they're talking to me at the TV. So I try not to let that be a part of my day.
Right. Absolutely. You probably have a better day for that, right?
I do. But yeah, the snow was a trip, man.
I was even because my stepson hasn't seen snow. We're thinking of doing a day trip up there.
You better get up there fast because they ain't gonna be there long.
I know it's not gonna be there much longer, right? It's unbelievable. Here's one that a lot of people want to know your opinion about: the Epstein list
The Epstein list?
and that whole situation.
Kind of interesting. We're gonna see if there's a Puffy list.
That's right. That was my next one.
We're going to see if there's a Puffy list because we'll see who ends up living through this. Because I'm sure Puffy's got a way. How can I say this? He's got some names he could name. Let's just leave it at that.
Right.
I don't see Puffy killing himself. And we'll see if that ends up getting him out of jail sooner or later. Because there's rumors of all of this kind of stuff.
Right.
But this is a reason why I don't watch the news. The rumors and everything that everybody's saying is all preseason, like a preseason football game. Call me when the game starts.
Gotcha.
When they go to trial and we see all of that kind of stuff, because this is related to the Epstein. We didn't get that game.
Right. Right.
They canceled the season.
Right.
But with Puffy, it could go. It's going to go a little bit differently, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think we're all gonna be watching that one. Yeah, definitely.
I
Closely.
might even turn the TV on for some of that.
Just for that one. All right. What is your thoughts on electric vehicles?
Love them. Love them. Got an electric bike.
Nice.
I ride around my gated community with it. Hey, Gladys, I'll see you at the pool. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Give us some options. They'll never wipe out the gas-powered for another 100 years or so.
No.
But it's a nice little alternative.
All right, now we're going to mix it up a little bit. Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac.
Tupac, that's right. I'm Tupac too. All right. Tupac. Is Tupac alive or dead?
He's dead.
He's dead. All right.
Yeah, he's dead. But I will say this because I know there's going to be people that taking it the other way. I was listening to some Biggie the other day. He also changed the game. He just didn't have a longevity in it.
Right.
That's the main reason why I would pick Tupac.
Now let's talk real quick about relationships. You seem like a man that has all the answers. Yeah, you're a man that has all the answers. What could you tell somebody? Because I do know, all joking aside, though, unfortunately, there is a large percentage of young males, I would say, I don't think I'm ever going to get married. I don't think I'm ever going to even have a girlfriend because the way society is and the way people communicate, it's not like it used to be. So you have any words of wisdom for those single guys out there?
Follow your heart. Stay single.
There you go.
I didn't get married till I was 37. I didn't have kids till I was 39. I never thought I was going to get married either. But the situation presented itself where somebody came into my life when I was secure with me. And that's probably the most important thing is be secure with yourself. You can't make anybody else happy if you're not happy with you. So if you're thinking that, I need somebody to complete me, to me, that's a tough one. I've always been the kind of person who, I'm a party starter. I'm probably going to be that guy that's out there in the middle of the dance floor by himself before everybody else gets out. That's just me.
Right.
Some people prefer to be, they don't want to come to the party till the party's already started. They want to make sure there's other people on the dance floor. You got to figure out which one of those people you are. Right. And then find somebody that kind of fits into that with you.
And now we can't end this without speaking on the opposite side. We mentioned robotic girlfriends, but they also have robotic boyfriends.
Whoa!
So
it's called the vibrator.
It's called a vibrator with arms and legs.
Rabbit.
We hope we don't get canceled. This is going to be our last show, but we're going to have a lot of fun anyway. No, but seriously, on a serious note, a lot of women are single and they're saying that I don't need a man. I'm just going to get me a robotic boyfriend and that can help cook and clean and be there for me when I need, and I can shut him off when I don't need him.
They're already doing that. It's called marriage. They're already doing that. I don't know, man. I mean, I've met a number of women. I was married for 23 years. I got divorced 2 years ago. I've met a number of women in a number of different scenarios, some from face-to-face, some from, obviously, the dating sites. A lot of women are tired of our shit. They're tired of our shit. But at the end of the day, it comes down again to me, being happy with yourself. If you're happy with yourself, you're going to attract other people to you. Men and women. You're going to attract better relationships, better friends, and just overall a better sense of self when you're out here in the community.
Right. And our last question, you kind of touched on, I wanted to get your opinion, and because you also spoke about it on the cruise ship, is dating apps.
Yeah, they're interesting. Again, it helps when you know who you are, because any number of the people that I see on the dating apps, everybody says they're looking for something without drama. Well, you're fucking drama.
Right.
You want something that you ain't bringing.
Right.
It's interesting, and it's interesting also because I met my girl on a dating app. Now,
were the pictures real that she had?
Yes.
There was no catfishing going on?
No, her pictures were absolutely real.
Okay.
Yeah, man. But it was a dating. But I'll mention it by name. Hinge. That's the one where the women kind of pick you. That one I kind of liked because I've already gotten past whether or not I'm acceptable to this woman or not. For me, that was something that I enjoyed. And it depends. It comes down to what you like as a person and how confident you are in your ability to be with another person. I never thought I don't see myself ever getting married again. I'm not sure that she does either. But companionship is a good thing at this age especially. And out here in the world, man, it's good to be around somebody that, you know, your stink doesn't offend them too bad.
Right. Well, got that smell. Who brought Red Fox? You're
Yeah.
a Red
Yes,
Fox fan?
absolutely.
Remember he saw that you're a stinky
You big
ass,
dummy.
right? You big dummy. Yeah. Well, I mean, is there anything else you want to touch on that we
This
didn't
has
touch
been
on?
fun, man. I had a great time. Yeah, I want to send a special shout out to
Okay.
one of my best friends in comedy, Craig Robinson.
Craig
You've seen-
Robinson.
That's
All
my
right.
dog. Anytime he's down here, he will be down here at the Dania Improv. A couple 3 weeks, I think. Go check him out. T-Rex, another one of my guys. Kiwi Rogers, you could catch him also on Royal Caribbean Ships. Scott Henry on Royal Caribbean Ships. Any number of guys that I know and young ladies. Just go out and see some live comedy. Enjoy it for what it is. Be in the moment and just, you know, let yourself go.
Right.
Let yourself go.
And have fun, right?
Live
Laugh
your
at
best life now.
Right, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. Well, you heard it, everybody. This was L.A. Hardy. You can go and check him out. His website is thereallahardy.com. And his social media is
Black Dad 2013 on Instagram. Lawrence Hardy on Facebook.
There you go. We appreciate you guys watching, all our followers and subscribers. You can check out our website. It's cyberhealthmedia.com. You can find out more about our show and how you can be a guest. We appreciate you watching. Please share this episode as much as you can. Give us some feedback. Give us some likes. And we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, man.